Socrates once stated that we should follow the argument wherever it leads.
You made Aristotle do a spit take.
When we look at the most profound question of life, does God exist? We should certainly follow his advice. When we do, we'll find evidences that show us God is real. Let's look at 6 proofs that show God exists. Number 1, the universe must have a cause.
What is cause? A cause and effect certainly seems to be something that we're familiar with in the universe that we observe, but that doesn't necessarily follow then that the universe itself must have that sort of cause. Besides that, what does it really mean if we're going to say caused in this case? If we're only looking at things that we can observe, and then we look at something that we cannot observe, as in the origin of the universe itself, which is right now beyond our scientific methodology to examine, there's a lot of problems with trying to figure it out. First of all, you can't really examine it in the first place. It's only done through mathematics that you can make any sort of model. But there, the physics breaks down because we just don't know what physics would be like in a universe that's so bloody hot as the Singularity was. So anything that's beyond a certain point, we have no idea what's going on or how things work at that point. And right now it's a mystery. Maybe one day somebody will unify all the different theories out there to have a grand unified theory, and that will resolve how the universe came to be. Or maybe what the word universe isn't good enough to describe what we observe, or any number of possibilities. But right now, we don't know. That's the honest truth. Of course, if you're an apologetic, well, then you know, honesty is kind of difficult because you have to arrive at God. But nonetheless, let's see if you actually have a coherent argument for the universe having to have a cause.
The most fundamental law of science is the law of cause and effect.
Well, you offer no citation for this, so I Google it, and nothing pops up on what the most foundational law of science is, just what law of science means, which is interesting. And I found some lists on some pages of different scientific laws, but nothing that suggests there is a most fundamental law of science, or that even your suggestion of cause and effect being a law of science is something supported. Which branch of science would it belong to? I would think physics, but you don't say, so it's unclear. Perhaps next time you'll give a citation so we know what the bleep you're talking about, and even more importantly, we know that you know what the bleep you're talking about, and we can know that whatever the bleep you're referring to is actually a bleeping thing.
And it says that for every material effect we see, there is a cause that came before it or was simultaneous to it, and that is greater than it.
No citation? No problem. Let's Google it. Uh-oh. There doesn't seem to be a thing that agrees with you. Well, let's click around and see what I can find here. Oh, look, a blog. That's just a bunch of woo. That's great. This talks about the law of cause and effect, and does so by just making up stuff about it, which seems like what this guy is basically doing. It's just this one has like all the woo in one place, so yeah, that's not going to help your argument one bit. I found what looks like it could have been a published paper, but it's not very good. I mean, I read through it, but it just doesn't really seem to be about much of anything. And it doesn't say the thing that you said cause and effect was, so it doesn't help your argument. Given that you've provided no citations twice now, So far, your argument isn't going anywhere. There's no reason to even think that your argument is an argument yet.
The universe is a material effect. So what caused the universe?
That is a loaded question, as it assumes that something caused the universe, which you haven't supported at all. So asking that question is loaded because it assumes something that you haven't proven. And also, asking a question is not an argument, as questions contain premises, and your argument must be built upon premises, not asking people questions in the middle of the argument, which means that this argument has a bad structure to it, which gains some formal fallacies and also makes your argument not be very well constructed. So that's a problem. In addition to the fallacy here, in fact, you now have 3 fallacies. Hold on. Where the bleep is my fallacy counter? Get that up there.
You see, if you don't believe in a creator, then you have to suggest something like a singularity.
Nope. No to that. Here we go. Here's the statement broken down. You don't believe in X, therefore you must believe in Z. No, you don't. You don't have to believe in anything. You can just not believe in X. You don't have to provide an alternative. You don't have to believe in anything else. You don't have to do anything. You just don't believe in X. And that's it. Suggesting that one must do anything or believe in something else would require you to have special knowledge of what that person is thinking. I call that mind reading. And that's illogical. Nobody can do that. So, no. And also, I would dare say false dichotomy is in there somewhere, because it's like, well, you don't believe this, so therefore you have to do this. No, you don't. That's a false choice. You don't know that there's other choices. You don't have to necessarily believe in anything. In fact, the word belief, depending on what you mean by it, you might discard altogether. Say, no, I don't believe anything. I just agree with all the data.
That's what is popular today, that there was some type of singularity that exploded in something called the Big Bang. But then when you try to get down to the bottom of what's a singularity, well, what we hear from the scientific community that suggests to us, the cosmologists, they say, well, a singularity was something that popped into existence from literally nothing.
Oh, good. This claim again. I'm sure that you're going to have thousands of cosmologists who all say exactly what you said. You have absolutely no citations listed in your description. I'm not surprised at all. So you're going to cite Lawrence Krauss, but he doesn't mean the sort of nothing that you're talking about. And hello? Who is it?
Hey, how's it going?
And nope.
In fact, Lawrence Krauss wrote a book titled A Universe from Nothing, and in that book he said that this singularity that exploded popped into existence from nothing.
I told you, he equivocated. See that bark on the tree? It doesn't go woof. The nothing that Lawrence is using is not the sort of nothing that you would need it to be to make your argument work in any way, shape, or form.
If there ever were a time when there was nothing, that's exactly what we would have now. The idea that something popped into existence from nothing is simply not a scientific idea.
Correct. It's not a scientific idea. It's an equivocation that you just did. But a true nothing wouldn't have any rules anyway, so there wouldn't be anything to prevent something coming from it. But that's a totally different story.
You see, they're suggesting that singularity is somehow natural, but it behaves supernaturally.
No, nobody is suggesting anything about the supernatural except for you.
Design demands a designer.
Bad theist argument number 17.A. Reality requires a realtor. Derp. Alright, let's see. That's association, causation, failure, equivocation, argument from ignorance, go to the gaps.
It is a truism that everybody recognizes that this universe looks designed.
Everybody thinks this? Everybody says this? Everybody? Okay, play the thing. Okay, so there's more to his video that I could cover, and maybe you want me to cover that, and if you do, let me know. But for now, we have 16 logical fallacies. What was the plus one question mark about? I don't remember anymore. Whatever. He's got lots of outright lies, and hey, how's it going? Stop. He didn't even call me that time. How? How did he? Anyways, he doesn't have a logically coherent argument, nor does he have any empirical evidence or a repeatable test. The things that he's saying could only convince somebody that already believes as he does. Perhaps that's really what apologetics is all about, just keeping people that believe believing. This isn't something that would convince a skeptic or an atheist or agnostic, or really, I don't think anyone from some other religion. I mean, at best, you're like, yeah, there's a God, but it's my God, not your God. So, it's an uphill battle that theists continue to try to climb and fall down because, I don't know why. That's what they do. And things, oh look, it's fading out into darkness again. Lobsters, that's all I've got. I already said the thing. We've got to be skeptical of the conclusion.